Today's story is about a young man named Mucaad who lived a very hard life. He will tell us about the difficult journey he went through, how he lost his mother, father, and siblings all at once, and how his pain led him to the mysterious world. Maybe right now you don't understand what that means, but don't worry, this is just the beginning. I want you to stay with me from the start to finish, because by the end, you will know what this world truly is and what happened there. This story is based on real events that happened in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure you will fascinating. So I will not waste much time on the introduction. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, make sure to join us. Now let's begin the story. Young man named Mucaad. He lived in the city of Jeddah with his mother, father, and two brothers. 5 people in total. At the time of this story, he was only 18 years old. Now he's 26. He said they used to be a happy family, full of joy and love. He and his brothers weren't just siblings. They were best friends. It was a family blessed with peace, living a normal life in Jeddah. One day, one of their relatives was getting married. A village outside the city, Mucaad's father said, "We should all go and attend the wedding together." Mucaad didn't really like weddings, but at this time his father insisted. He said, "Come on, son, it's family." It was a Wednesday, and the wedding was supposed to happen next day, Thursday. So they started getting ready. Mucaad told his father, "That day, I will be the one driving." His brother supported him and said, "Yes, let him drive." Mucaad explained that he knew how to drive, but this would be his first long trip outside the city. His father agreed, so they all got ready and left home at around 6 p.m. Because of the strong heat in that area, most people they prefer to travel at night. As they drove down the long desert road, they finally reached a checkpoint where cars were being inspected. While they waiting there, Mucaad's father received a phone call from his brother, Uncle Muhammad. He was calling from their family's home, countryside. He told Mucaad's father, "There are many guests here already. Everyone waiting for you. You should hurry up." So Mucaad's father looked at him and said, "Son, take the short road. This one will get us there faster." The road my father chose was not a normal road. It was a rough walking path, full of sharp rocks and deep cracks. No one used that road. There were no lights, no houses, nothing but darkness and silence. My mother whispered, "May Allah protect us. This road looks evil. Let's take the other one." But my father, he was not a man who changed his mind when he made a decision. He said firmly, "It's okay. We will pass through here. Don't worry." All of us were scared. That dark road felt like a place where no human should go. But my father kept driving, ignoring our fear. He said the main highway was too dangerous. At night, there were military checkpoints everywhere, and if something happened on highway, police will arrive quickly. But on this road, no one would come. He said maybe one car passed there every hour. That's how lonely it was. As we drove deeper into the darkness, the car shook and bounced on the rough ground. The night grew even darker. The car's light looked weak, fading and flickering. I tried to stay calm, but I noticed something. The fuel gauge was dropping fast. I was afraid to tell my father, but I had no choice. So I said quietly, "Dad, I think you are running out of fuel." The moment I said that, he got angry. He shouted, "Stop the car! Get out right now!" I stepped out of the car, confused and scared. Then my father jumped into the driver's seat himself, and he drove like a man facing something unseen, faster than ever before. Remember, this was a broken, rocky road. Even a small mistake would make the car flip or explode. But my father didn't seem to care. He pushed the car to its maximum speed. Then, suddenly, out of nowhere, a man appeared in the middle of the road. We didn't know actually where he come from. If my father hadn't thrown the steering wheel in that exact moment, that man would have died instantly. My father tried to avoid him, but when he turned the car sharply, he lost control completely. The car flipped once, twice, again and again, rolling down the rocky path until it finally crashed the bottom. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I realized I was still alive. Somehow I survived. I could hear faint cries, my father shouting, my mother screaming, my two brothers crying from the back seat. I tried to move, but pain and dizziness took over. Finally, I managed to crawl out of the rocket car, my body shaking, my ears filled with the echo of their voices. I wanted to help them. I wanted to call the police, but there was no signal, no people, no cars, nothing but endless deserts. I knew I had to walk to find help. So I started walking into the darkness. After walking for what felt like forever, I finally saw something. A wooden ball, a sign of telephone wires. Near it, there was a small hut under the ball. The door of hut was open. I walked towards slowly, my legs weak, my heart pounding. It was completely dark inside. I turned on my phone flashlight, and just as the lights come on, something black and fast moved right in front of me. I jumped back in fear, dropping my phone on the ground. When I picked it up again, I looked at the screen, and suddenly the signal bars were full. For the first time that night, I felt a small spark of hope. At this time, I could finally call for help. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. My body was trembling, not just from fear, but something else I couldn't explain. And from that dark hut, cold whisper began to rise. After I called the police, I stepped out of that strange hut, and suddenly I saw something standing right at the door. I had just come from. It was an animal. Where it came from, I have no idea. Was it a dog? A wolf? I couldn't even tell. It just stood there, staring at me, its eyes fixed on mine. For 10 long seconds, neither of us moved. Then, just like that, it disappeared into the darkness. I was shaking, but I forced myself to walk away. Soon after, I heard the police on the line telling me, "We are coming as fast as we can, but your location is far. It will take us at least an hour to reach you. Stay where you are." So I waited, alone in the silent desert. I started walking slowly back toward the car, tears falling without control. I didn't even know if my mother, my father, or my brothers were still alive. My mind was blank, my heart empty. As I got closer to the crash site, something strange caught my eyes. The car, which had flipped over earlier, was now standing upright, as if someone had already lifted it. And beside the car, I saw my family. My mother, my father, my brothers. lying on the ground, side by side. For a moment, I froze. I thought maybe help had already arrived. Maybe someone came before the police. But when I looked around, there was no one there. Just silence, and my family's lifeless bodies. A few minutes later, the sound of sirens filled the air. The police and the ambulance finally arrived. They lifted my family carefully and rushed them to the hospital. But it was too late. At the hospital, I learned that my mother and my brothers had died. Only my father survived, but he was in a coma. When I heard the news, my world collapsed. I cried for 5 hours straight, unable to speak or move. Later, our relatives gathered. My uncle came and said, "Son, after all this tragedy, you shouldn't live alone. Come stay with me in the village." But I refused and said, "Uncle, I can't. I am used to living in the city. I can't move away." Then he told me that my mother's sister, my aunt, had offered to take me in. She said, "Let him live with me. I will take care of him." So I gathered my things and went to live with her. Living with my aunt was different. Every day I felt heavy with sorrow. Yesterday I had a full, happy family, and now I was alone. My auntie had a son named Waliid. We were the same age. We went to the same school, even the same class. But before all this, we were never close. Waliid wasn't an easy person. He was known for causing trouble. He fought with students, disrespected teachers, and hung around with two boys named Ahmed and Khalid. But after I moved in, he treated me differently. He welcomed me. Maybe because we were now living under one roof. Soon we started spending time together. I had no one else. My brothers were gone. My life had changed completely. When school started again, I tried to focus, but it wasn't possible. The memories of the accident, the empty house, the smell of my mother's perfume still in my clothes. It all haunted me. When final exam came, I did terribly. My grades were the lowest I ever had. Waliid and his friends didn't care about studying at all. But when Waliid saw how sad and worried I was, he came to me and said, "Don't worry, cousin. I have got a plan. I know someone who can fix this." He smiled and added, "My friend Khalid knows a guy who worked at the university. We will go to him. He can adjust our results." At first, I hesitated, but Waliid looked confident. He said, "Trust me, we will go together, and everything will be fine." And that was the moment I agreed to go with him, not knowing that this decision would lead me straight into the darkness once again. When Khalid told us about his friend who could fix our exam results, he added one condition. We must enroll the same university where he works. He said, otherwise he can't register or help us. That university was far, about 500 kilometers away from the city of Jeddah. It wasn't even inside a real city, just a small university surrounded by a few tiny villages and farms. Most students lived in rented village houses nearby, because the campus was completely isolated. So we made our plans. Khalid spoke to his contact at the university, and the man told him everything was fine. He said we could come there anytime to start the admission process. There was only 1 week left before the classes began. We packed our bags and prepared everything. 3 days before the opening day, we left. Waliid drove his car. We started our journey in the evening around 6 p.m. As we reached the main highway, Something hit me deep inside. We were now driving along the same road where my family's accident had happened. My heart began to race. I told them to stop. I shouted, Waliid, stop the car. Please stop here. They were confused. Waliid looked at me and said, What's wrong with you? I told him the whole story about the crash, about the screams, about the man who appeared on the road that night. They were shocked. Khalid whispered, Let's turn back. But Waliid just smiled and said calmly, Relax, cousin. Everything will be fine. Maybe this time we will bring good luck instead. We continued driving. The deeper we went, the darker it got. I told them about everything strange that had happened that night. The animal at the door, the dark hat, the disappearing man. Then suddenly, as I was speaking, Waliid's face changed. He went pale and froze. He stopped the car immediately. I asked, What's wrong? Why did you stop? He said quietly, I need to use the bathroom. I replied sharply, No, don't get out of the car. This place is not safe. But Waliid laughed. Come on, it's nothing, and stepped out. He walked a few meters away into the dark, and soon his two friends Ahmed and Khalid followed him. I stayed inside the car for a few seconds, but then something in me said, Go after them. So I get out and followed quietly. Suddenly, Waliid shouted into the dark, his voice echoing through the empty night. Come out, you demons! You killed my cousins. Now face me. The moment he said that, we all heard it. A loud cracking sound, like glass shattering behind us. We froze. Even Ahmed and Khalid were terrified. I wanted to run. I whispered, Let's go back to the car, please. But Waliid didn't listen. He walked straight toward the sound. When we followed him, we saw it, a well. An old, dry, ancient well that looked untouched. Over 50 years, the stones around it were broken, and the air coming from it was cold, unnaturally cold. Waliid looked down at it and said, This must be the well, the spirit sphere. I know what I'm doing. Before we could stop him, he leaned over the edge and urinated into the well. We screamed, What are you doing? Are you crazy? But it was too late, and that moment was the beginning of our curse. The ground trembling slightly. The wind suddenly changed direction. Then, out of the darkness, came the sound of growling, deep, heavy, and close. We turned around and saw them, 5 black dogs, standing in half circle, their eyes glowing red. No one knew where they come from. They moved very slowly toward us. We all ran, but one of the dogs jumped on Waliid and bit his leg. He screamed in pain. As they tried to drag him toward the mountain, we grabbed rocks and started throwing them with all our strength. After a few hits, the dogs backed away and disappearing into the dark. We helped Waliid to the car. His leg was bleeding badly, and he could barely walk. I jumped behind the wheel and drove as fast as I could. But just when we thought we were safe, the road ahead suddenly ended. There was no way forward. The road was blocked by rocks and dry sand, like it had never existed. We stepped out of the car, shocked. It was the same road, the one we had just driven on, but now it was gone. No lights, no tree marks, just mountain and silence. We began to hear drumming sounds, like someone playing music deep in the hills, and faint voices changing. There were no people, no houses, Nothing alive around us, but the drums kept playing. Panic filled us. We ran back to the car and decided to turn around, to drive back toward the highway. But just as we reached the same cursed spot where the Waliid stood, we saw him. That same man, the one who had appeared in the road the night my family died. He was standing there again, silent, still, his eyes shining in the darkness. I was still shaking. Khalid and Ahmed shouted, "Don't drive off the road. Just drive straight." My hand trembled on the steering wheel. I pressed the gas hard and sped forward. But something strange happened. We didn't hit anyone. The man who had stood in the middle of the road was now behind our car, following us silently. I whispered, I say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I couldn't look back. We drove faster and faster until the course place disappeared behind us. Finally, after driving for hours, we reached the area near the university. We were all exhausted, physically and mentally, so we started looking for a place to sleep. But after 3 hours of searching, we couldn't find any hotel or guest house. Everything was closed or far away. Khalid sighed and said, "Let me call that friend again. Maybe he can help." He called the man and explained our situation. The man said kindly, "No problem. Come to my house. You can rest here tonight." We drove there right away. It was very light. Our eyes were heavy with sleep. The moment we entered his house, we collapsed and fell asleep without a word. When morning came, I wake up to the sound of people's voices. The house was full. Laughter, dishes, the smell of food. I rubbed my eyes and looked around. The man and his family were preparing a big feast. Khalid came and smiling. "Good morning. They made all of this because of us," he said. "They are happy we arrived here safely." We joined them for breakfast. After we ate, we told the man that we still needed a place to live near the university. One of his friends spoke up. "I own some rental houses near the campus," he said. "Don't worry, I'll give you one. In fact, you can stay for free this month." We were overjoyed. Free rent? That sounded like a blessing. The same afternoon, he took us to see houses. The moment we arrived, I felt uneasy. The place was empty and quiet. Too quiet. Yes, it was close to the university, but there was nothing else around. No shops, no people, just dry land and silence. The house had 2 rooms and 1 small bedroom. But the smell was horrible, foul. Rotten odor come from somewhere inside. I told him, "We can't live here. What's that smell?" He said calmly, "Don't worry, I will call some workers to clean the place for you. You can stay here for first month free." We looked at each other. Free rent again? We convinced ourselves it was fine. At evening, workers come and clean the house. We went to town, brought some mattresses and blankets, and prepared to spend the house for first night there. It was quiet, too quiet. We each went to our rooms. Waliid and I shared one. Khalid and Ahmed shared the other one. I fell asleep quickly, but something woke me up in the middle of the night. I looked around. Waliid's bed was empty. I thought maybe he went to the bathroom, so I lay back down. Few minutes later, I heard something. The sound of dog barking outside. Oh, at first, then louder. My heart started to race. I sat up. "What's that sound?" I whispered. "I wanna check the bathroom." Empty. The door of houses was wide open. That's when fear hit me. I ran to wake Khalid and Ahmed. "Waliid scanned." I said, "He's not in the house." We looked everywhere, nothing. Where could he go? This place was surrounded by desert and mountains. There was nowhere to go. He grabbed flashlights and went outside. We followed the barking sound. It grew louder and closer. echoing through the rocky hills. And then we saw him. Waliid stood on the top of hill, his eyes wide open, holding a plastic bottle full of water. He was drinking from it like a thirsty man lost in the desert. But the way he moved, the way he stared at the bottle, was not human. He didn't even notice us calling his name. I stood there, frozen. What I saw made no sense. Waliid, what are you doing? I shouted. He turned around, breathed heavily, and said, there was no water in the fridge, so I came here to drink. And I didn't want to wake you. I thought you would be scared. We stared at him, then I shouted, throw that water away. And say Bismillah, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. He brought out the water, confused. Khalid looked at me with fear in his eyes. Mucaad whispered, something is wrong. Ever since that night by the well, strange things keep happening. It's not over. I tried to calm him. No, brother, maybe it's just bad luck, I said. But deep inside, I knew he was right. Next morning, when we all wake up, Waliid was missing again. We ran outside and found him lying on the ground, right in the same place he had stood last night, holding that same plastic bottle. This time he wasn't moving. I looked at Khalid and said, you are right. Something evil is happening here. We said that day we had to take him back to the city. His health, his mind, everything was wrong. So we told him. We are going back to the city to check on Khalid's father sick. He nodded weakly. We drove away. When we reached the city, we went straight to his aunt's house. We told her everything about his strange behavior, the night walks, the water, the well. She panicked. Her husband tried to calm her down. Don't worry, the uncle said. We will take him to hospital. Everything will be fine. At hospital, the doctor went to stay and said, he has dangerous stomach infection, bacteria. If you had come later, it could have been fatal. You brought him just in time. They treated him and gave him medicine. He recovered slowly. But something inside him had changed. He stopped drinking water completely. He refused to eat, no matter how thirsty he was. He was terrified. I told his auntie, please take him to Quran healer. What he did at well was not normal. It may be something spiritual. But his aunt refused. She said, he doesn't need Quran, she said. He just needs to drink from the same water again. That's what will heal him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. That's dangerous, I told her. The place is cursed. But she didn't listen. She said, don't worry, I know how to cure my son. I'll take him myself. I didn't agree, but I couldn't stop her. A few days later, we went back to find that same well. But when we reached the place, it was gone. The sun had shifted. The land looked different. We searched for hours until finally we found it. But it wasn't the same. There was no water inside anymore. Only animal bones, dry and cracked. The auntie stared into empty hole. Her husband said, let's leave this cursed place. We will go back to the city. And so we did. After that day, things got worse. One night, I woke up to use the bathroom and saw Waliid again drinking from the toilet. I screamed. His aunt ran in. They rushed him to the hospital again. The doctors say it was the same bacteria, but this time it had reached his brain. Waliid's condition worse. He began to lose his mind, forgetting people, shouting at shadow, laughing, crying at the same time. I begged his aunt again. Please take him to Quran healer. But she refused until it was too late. She locked him in the house, refused to let him out. He stayed there, trapped, sick, broken. When I saw him like that, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to leave the city. I moved to my uncle's village far away. It's been 4 years now. I never went back. Because every time I think of that city, I remember my family dead, the cursed well, and looked in Waliid's eyes. Now he was completely insane. His aunt cries every day, regretting that she didn't listen, regretting the moment she said he doesn't need Quran. My name is Mucaad. I'm 26 years old now. I live quietly in the countryside, and I will never return to that city again. That was my story. Story of pain, fear, and loss. So, my dear listener, let me ask you something. What would you have done if you were in my place? We have reached the end of the story. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And leave a like to support the channel. And to those who watch it all the way till now, you are the real ones. Thank you for listening.